One of the most intriguing books I've read so far about how to build an audience online is Show Your Work by Austin Kleon. I read this book just in one day, and in this video I want to share with you guys what I learned from this book and why you should read it too to build your audience online, and especially on YouTube. So in this video I'm going to share with you 10 tips, and number 7 is going to be significantly transformative for your YouTube channel. And if you're new to this channel, my name is Nader, and here on this channel, I'll help you build your YouTube channel from the ground up. So make sure to subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss out on anything. And now, let's get into it. So, the title of the first chapter says, "You don't have to be a genius." In this chapter, the author highlights the creativity myths that many of us strongly believe in, the lone genius myth that we have to be crazy or socially awkward in order to be creative or original in the eyes of people. The author is totally against this concept, and he says, if you look back closely at history, many of the people who we think of as lone geniuses were actually part of a whole scene of people who were supporting each other and looking at each other's work, copying from each other and stealing ideas and contributing ideas as well. And then he says that you basically don't need to have a degree in your niche to put yourself out there to talk about something specific. You can learn online and document this learning journey. Then he follows up with the idea of being an amateur, and that many of us are so afraid of being labeled as one, but the author believes that being an amateur is useful for your growth, because more often than not, an amateur is someone who pursuing their passion regardless of the potential for fame or money or career and so on. And I totally agree with him. If you think you're good at something or you just have a little passion for it, don't hesitate to put yourself out there, and it's okay if your friends or family are gonna make fun of you at first. Don't pay attention to that negativity and go on. The author thinks that being an amateur has an advantage over being professional at something, because amateurs have the courage to embarrass themselves by doing something completely new or crazy without getting judged, because they lack the anxiety that professionals tend to have, as they want everything to be perfect. But amateurs don't, want everything to be perfect. They just want to have fun and learn along the way. Then in the second chapter, he says, think process, not product. In this chapter, the author says that the most important part of your piece of work to you should be the process. Never think of the outcome or the final product at first. The end product is only important to your audience. And I totally agree with him. I made over 50 videos on this channel, and the best performing videos that I've made so far were the ones that I made with enjoyment and passion, not with the thought that I wanted them to go viral or anything like that. I didn't think about the views or the attention I might get because of these videos. I just let myself get in the flow, and that's it. I'm not saying that we should never look for the better or aim for more. That's not true, but when you're working on your piece of work, you don't have to think about it, because your work won't be 100% genuine in this case, and it'll be just for the views or the money, and that's not the best strategy for your long-term success on YouTube. By only focusing on the process, you'll be way more creative and genuine than you are now. The author also suggests creators to become documentarians of what they do. If you have a special job or work, don't be afraid to document your work and share it with your audience. People love this stuff. Those behind the scenes sort of videos get so much attention, and they're actually enjoyable. When I like a certain YouTuber and I get so much value from their videos, I start to have a little bit of a personal relationship with this or that author. I want to know a thing or two about them, about their day-to-day lives, and that's a very human feeling, because people like to know stuff, and you should take advantage of that. And then chapter 3 says, send out a daily dispatch. In this chapter, the author says that it's vitally important for your growth online to send a daily dispatch to your audience, because you need to let your audience know what you're doing or what you're working on. This way, you'll get to meet more like-minded people online, and chances are you'll reach more of your target audience, because Sharing something valuable daily is better than weekly or monthly, let alone not sharing at all. He also says that you shouldn't just share selfies, food and cats and dogs and things like that online, but rather focus on sharing your work, because that's what's gonna resonate more with your audience. And he also talks about the so what answer that you have to give to every single piece of work before you hit upload. Put yourself in the shoes of your audience and say, so what? If you still think it's worth posting, don't hesitate. Put it out there and leave it. And that sort of makes sense because we sometimes think that a piece of work is worth sharing, but in reality it isn't. So looking at your content from the audience's perspective is going to do the trick. Then he says that it's really important to build your own domain at first, which is true because at the end of the day, YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram don't belong to you. Even if you have millions of followers, you still don't own them, but the platform does. You don't have to be a successful business person to build your own website. Even if you're a small YouTuber who's starting a personal brand or a channel, keeping a domain from the get-go is going to save you a lot of time in the future and also money, because you don't want to build your domain and get it from someone else for thousands of dollars. So I suggest you look up your potential domain first before starting your brand online. The most popular website for that is domain.com, and I'm going to leave you a link in the description of this video, so check it out. And in chapter 4, the author says, open up your cabinet of curiosities. In this chapter, the author says that it's really important to let yourself go beyond your expertise and experiment a little bit, because you have to be curious to do good work. And I totally agree with that. The best ideas you can ever come across can come from someone sitting on a bench near you in a park, or from a 5-year-old kid. Just let yourself be open-minded and listen to people with curiosity. Then you will never run out of creative ideas. And then chapter 5 says, tell good stories. In this chapter, the author thinks that everyone should learn a thing or two about storytelling. He believes that work doesn't speak for itself. So what I suggest to you guys is find a good storytelling crash course online, and that is going to do the trick. Because I believe that a better story is what makes me personally choose to buy a certain product or service over another one. So if you're interested in storytelling, I suggest you read a good book called Stories That Stick. I'm going to leave a link to this book in the description of this video for those who want to read it. So the author also suggests that you have to talk about your work at parties. By talking to people you don't know about your work, they might follow you later and consider purchasing your product or service. Or they might at least recommend you to someone else who might like your work and purchase it themselves. Then he followed up with a good quote that I really liked that says, whatever we say, we're always talking about ourselves. And chapter 6 says, share your trade secrets. In this chapter, the author wants to highlight the essence of sharing your knowledge. And I agree with this concept. Teaching is a great way to learn. As soon as you learn something, go up to a friend who might be keen on what you've learned and just teach it to them. And he also used a very good analogy that if you're a world-class chef and you told people about your secret recipe, that doesn't mean that people won't come to your restaurant anymore. They might use your recipe once or twice, but they'll always love to spend $20 on your steak because it saves them time and also energy. And honestly, this is how I personally run this channel. I try to learn something new every day, and no matter if I think it's worth sharing or not, I put it out there on YouTube, and I hope that our content is useful to you guys. But I never forget about the concept of so what. So before I share anything, I always ask myself, so what? This sharing concept almost works for everything. I do that all the time. Once I learn a new word or an expression in a language that I'm learning now, I go up to a native speaker and share it with them or crack a joke about it. So it doesn't matter if you think you're perfect at what you're doing or not. Share what you know, and I'm pretty sure that you'll find an audience for it. And then in chapter 7, the author tells you not to turn into a human spam. What I like about this chapter is that it reminded me of an article I read called The Art of Listening. So the author in this part of the book is basically asking you to shut up and listen. Yes, that's basically what he says. And I agree, because sometimes people are only interested in themselves and their work. And that's why the author is telling you in this chapter that if you want people to notice your work, you have to notice other people's work as well. And you have to like stuff and post them. You don't have to just keep your entire social media content about yourself. Spice it up by sharing other people's experiences and even having other people on your channel. So chapter 8 says, learn to take a punch. And by using the word punch, he doesn't actually mean a physical one. He meant criticism. The way to be able to take a punch is to practice getting hit a lot, put out a lot of work, and let people take their best shot at you. You will gain nothing by engaging with these people, and don't feed them, and they will usually just go away. And in chapter 9, he says, sell out. In this chapter, the author wants you to sell your work. No matter what you do, there has to be a customer for it. YouTubers and internet personalities always have an email list. That helps them own their audience, because no matter how many subscribers you have on the platform, you don't own them, but the platform does. And creating an email list is going to save you a lot of time and energy in the future. And the last chapter says, stick around. And this is my favorite chapter, because it shows me that showing your work on social media is working only in the long run. You're less likely to be an overnight sensation. You will only get where you want to be only with dedication and consistency. So social media isn't for quitters, it's for people who are in it for the long haul. And that's why I don't want you to get frustrated, guys. And if you're struggling to grow organically, I recommend you using Prodvigate. With Prodvigate, in a couple of clicks, you'll launch an ads campaign that will bring you real viewers and views, and get your videos to the top of the search results and the suggested videos. And all this without any cheating methods or bots, because we're an official Google partner. And at the same time, you don't have to keep trying to figure out Google's advertising settings for eternity, because our smart algorithm will analyze your channel and bring you your target audience in no time. For all newcomers, we always have a promo code with a 20% discount in the first promotion. So you're gonna find this promo code in the description of this video, so check it out. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really enjoyed talking about this book because it's one of my favorites now, so I really recommend you reading it as well. It's going to make a huge difference in your overall performance on the platform. So if you have any questions, please keep it in the comments down below. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. I literally answer every single message that I get on the channel. So if you're new to this channel, please hit the subscribe button and click the bell so you don't miss out on any future content. And also give this video a thumbs up, because this helps us with the algorithm and helps us grow organically to more people like you. So thank you so much for doing that. I really appreciate it, and see you next time.